It's 2 a.m. You're lying in bed, scrolling through people laughing at a party you weren't invited to. You have 47 unread messages. And somehow, you haven't had a real conversation in 3 days. You feel surrounded and completely alone at the same time. That's not a coincidence. That's the design. Here's the part that makes it worse: you're not isolated. You've never been more connected in your life. You have followers, group chats, notifications, people reacting to your stories, a phone that buzzes every few minutes like it has something important to say. And yet somehow, none of it touches you. You can talk to 50 people before lunch and still feel like nobody actually knows you're alive. So let's name it properly. This isn't loneliness in the old sense, the kind where you're physically by yourself. This is something newer and stranger. Some researchers call this kind of tiny emotional substitute social snacking. A like here. A reply there. A story view. A heart emoji. A short message that says same and then disappears forever. It feels like connection. But it is not connection. It's the wrapper. Here's the hidden mechanism nobody explains to you. Real connection requires something these apps are specifically built to destroy: sustained attention on one person, with nothing else competing for it. But every platform you use is engineered to break your attention into tiny pieces, because tiny pieces of attention are easier to sell. So the very tool you're using to feel close to people is optimized to make closeness almost impossible. You're not bad at relationships. You're using a machine built to interrupt them. And this is where it gets worse. Social media doesn't just replace connection with a weaker version of it. It also raises your standard for what connection should look like, while lowering your tolerance for the boring, awkward parts that actually build it. You see curated friendships, perfect trips, group photos where everyone looks thrilled to be alive, late-night videos where people are laughing in kitchens, cars, restaurants, bedrooms, rooftops, places you were not invited to. Nobody posts the awkward silence. Nobody posts the argument over where to eat. Nobody posts the slow Tuesday afternoon where nothing happens, but two people still feel safe around each other. So your brain quietly concludes that your actual friendships, the real ones, the uneven ones, the sometimes annoying ones, are failing by comparison. Think about the last time you made plans with someone. There's a decent chance one of you canceled. And neither of you was that upset about it. That's not because you don't care. It's because canceling now comes with almost no social cost. You can text something came up and immediately go back to scrolling. The other person does the same thing. And both of you silently agree that this is fine. Except it's not fine. It's erosion. Every canceled plan is a small vote for isolation. And we're all quietly voting for it constantly. But the strangest part is this: loneliness used to be a signal. It used to mean, go find people. Now it means, open the app that made you lonely in the first place. You feel the ache, and instead of reaching toward a person, you reach toward the exact device that manufactures the ache. It's like feeling thirsty and drinking salt water. It looks like a solution. It deepens the problem. Let's make this concrete. Picture a college student sitting alone in a dorm room. 200 people live in that building. She could knock on 5 doors and probably find someone to talk to. Instead, she's watching strangers on the internet talk about how lonely they are. She nods along. She feels briefly understood. Then she closes the app and she's still alone in the same room. The connection was real for a second. But it required nothing from her. And it gave almost nothing back. That's the trade the whole system is built on. Here's the part nobody wants to admit: a lot of us have quietly gotten worse at being around people in person. Not because we're broken. Because we're out of practice. In-person connection has friction. You have to read tone without emojis. You have to sit through silence without grabbing your phone. You have to tolerate someone disagreeing with you in real time instead of scrolling past their opinion. You have to answer a question before you've had 5 minutes to craft the perfect version of yourself. That friction used to be normal. Now it feels like work. And every app on your phone has trained you to avoid anything that feels like work. There is a darkly funny detail buried in all this. The same generation that grew up being told just go outside and make friends is the first generation whose entire social life got rerouted through platforms designed to keep them inside, alone, looking at a screen, feeling seen just enough to keep opening it again. Nobody built this to hurt you personally. That's almost the worst part. It is not a villain in a basement pressing the loneliness button. It's just a system doing its job. And its job was never your well-being. Now here's the human part, the part that actually matters. If you felt this, you're not weird. If you've texted haha yeah while feeling absolutely nothing, you're not the only one. If you've seen a friend group photo and wondered when you stopped being invited, you're not being dramatic. If you've realized you talk to your phone more than you talk to the person in the next room, that is not just a personal failure. It's an honest reaction to a very strange environment. An environment that keeps you fed just enough to never go looking for a real meal. The ache you feel at 2 a.m. isn't weakness. It's probably the sanest part of you. So what helps? The annoying answer is the old one. Longer conversations. Boring time together. And being the person who texts first. Not because that sounds inspiring. It doesn't. It sounds inconvenient, which is exactly the problem. Connection needs duration, not frequency. One real 2-hour conversation with a friend does more than 50 days of liking their posts. Boredom together builds more intimacy than excitement online. The friendships that actually last are usually built in the unremarkable moments. Sitting around. Eating something average. Walking nowhere important. Talking about nothing until eventually it becomes something. And initiating costs you almost nothing. Most people are waiting for someone else to text first. Which means almost everyone is stuck waiting. Be the one who doesn't wait. Not because you're fearless. Because the alternative is everyone pretending they don't care until nobody calls anybody. None of this requires deleting your phone or moving to a cabin. That would make a great dramatic video title, but it's not necessary. It requires noticing when you're social snacking instead of actually eating. And occasionally choosing the slower, more awkward, more inconvenient thing that produces something real. So here's where we land. You're not lonely because something is wrong with you. You're lonely because you're living inside a system engineered to simulate connection while quietly preventing it. And it's very good at that job. The fix is not more likes. It's not more followers. It's not a better dating app. It's fewer, slower, more inconvenient interactions with people who actually know your name outside a notification. That's not a trend. That's just what worked before the algorithm got involved. And unfortunately, annoyingly, embarrassingly, it still works now. Tell me which part of this hit too close to home. And subscribe for more brutally honest breakdowns of modern life.